Good morning, traders. Welcome to the Ruthless Trading live trading video recap. This is capturing my trades from the day before, all live streamed to the members of the Ruthless Trading Discord community. In real time, we trade every day from about 9:15 to 11:30. What I mean by live, this is not a pre-recorded trading session where I come back and talk about the trade. This was the exact same trading commentary streamed to the members in the Discord community all in real time. All I've done is recorded the trading session as they played out and posted here to YouTube for your education and enjoyment. If you're interested in joining our trading community and learning more about how to trade, I'll post a link to the Discord below. Got some great members in the community. We've got a lot of experience within the community, including myself and some others that have been trading for, 10 plus years. We got some traders in there that have been trading, from 6 months to a year that are kind of just getting started in their journey, kind of soaking up information from some of the more experienced traders in there. And then, of course, we got brand new traders in there, never traded before, looking to jump in. They join the Discord. It's free to join. They ask a bunch of questions. Either myself or other experienced traders will go in there and help answer them. So enjoy the recap here and look forward to seeing you into the community.
So good morning. Today is October 16th, currently at 9:49 here in the market. No news that we have on the day coming up. We have a nice little downtrend here. We kind of retested that 20 moving average again, 9 below the 20, below the VWAP, below the 200, showing a little bit of bearishness here. RSI right around that 40 range here. We had that nice little test here of that 20 moving average, starting to downtrend. Going to be looking to the short side here. Going to be looking to scale my way in, as I think we're going to continue to trend toward the downside. Interesting little fact. I don't talk a lot of politics, nor do I want to talk about politics, but a little interesting tidbit about the market here. The market has called the presidency right the last 40 years. If the S&P 500 is positive over the last 3 months, which is it's up about 8% over the last 3 months, the incumbent the incumbent party is going to win the election. So unless we have a major crash in the market, looks like Kamala Harris is going to win the election. So we'll see if the market calls this right again. But just a little tidbit of fact that the market has called the presidency right the last 40 years. Going to be looking at the short side here, as look like we're going to continue to follow this downtrend. Going to be looking for good entry points here.
Order filled.
We're going to get filled here. So one contract to the short side. I'm going to be looking to hold this short. Target's going to be all the way down to the 58.38 range. Currently one contract to the short side here.
Order filled.
I'm going to add here. We're going to have heavy limit orders here if the market wants to pump up all the way to that VWAP area, which is going to be that 579.52 here on the SPY. We want to see this close below this non-moving average. If not, we may take the profit here off these two contracts, then look for the market to pump back up because the RSI is getting a little bit weak. But starting to get a little bit of a pullback here. We want to be careful here. Just because the RSI is only in the 40s, got a little lower shadow there. This may try to run up very quickly into that VWAP area, which is the next gap to fill. Let's see what we do here. Okay, there. Nice little close below the 9 here. Lighter volume here on the day, just because we don't have any news on the horizon. I want to see this really start to accelerate toward the downside here. Don't want to see this try continuing to retest these areas. Again, this may try to run all the way up to this VWAP area. Nice little upper shadow here.
Order filled.
I'm gonna cut this off here, and I'm gonna look just because I don't think this is gonna really accelerate to the downside. It's really one to hold this 58-54 area, and it may, but I think the better opportunity here is I think we're gonna get a push at some point to the upside here, all the way up to this volume weighted average price right now that's sitting around that 579.49 area. And if we get the quick run up, I'd rather just take the quick profit here of $75 and then really add into it aggressively if we get that run up. The reason is just we're kind of stagnant, kind of consolidating sideways here. RSI is in the low 40s. And we're, like I said, I think we'll get a push, and then we can look to possibly short. We'll see what happens here. So 10 o'clock here in the market. Already took a quick $70 of profit after commissions here. Like I said, I think we're going to get this quick little run up toward the volume weighted average price. I want to see how it reacts off that. I think potentially we could get better short entries into that area. Give us a better risk versus reward here. So right now we're still on the downtrend, so still looking bearish, but we are kind of consolidating. Again, we have touched this 58, 54 area once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and it's holding strong. Was really looking like where we got short right in here, was really looking for this to kind of fall, break that area of support, and we would have got a quick little push to the downside. But it looks like right now momentum's going to try to start to build toward the upside. You can see the 9 starting to get closer to the 20, where it kind of wants to push up here. RSI starting to climb here into the 43 range now, still low 40s. But volume very light on the day just because we don't have any news today, which is a good and a bad thing. Good thing is we don't have to worry about any news, like being in any trades where news will affect the trade and not really rely off technical analysis. The bad thing is, since there was no news earlier this morning, a little bit lighter volume than expected. But here's that push I'm kind of talking about. Like I said, I think we're going to get a quick little push to the upside. I want to be looking for potential shorts there. As long as the 9 doesn't cross over the 20 and we start to rally to the upside. Let's see if we get this big push. RSI to the 50s here. Again, I want to see a quick run up. You can see these limit orders already in here. I want to see a quick upper shadow get filled and this climb right back down. So here we go. Let's see if we get this quick little push here. I want a little bit more. A little bit more here. Fill me where these limit orders are. We're right there at the VWAP.
Order filled.
There we go. So starting to get filled here. Again, that's kind of what I talked about, right? That's why I wanted to just take the profits here. I figured we might have a quick push to the upside.
Order filled.
And this is going to give us the better opportunity to make money as we get this quick push. We can have these high limit orders in, look to get filled, and then we'll see this drop back down here.
Order filled. Order filled.
Yep. Exactly what we're looking for here. So RSI in the 70s, a little bit oversold here. We should see this pull back. Kind of holding strong here.
Order filled.
So 6 contracts to the short side. Oversold here, 72 on the RSI. Here's the pullback. We'll be quick on the trigger on this one. But it's what we talked about, right? We were, it looked like we were going to get this quick little push. It's a little bit higher than I expected, to be honest, as far as how much it did push. But we did able to grab 6 contracts to the short side. Now we're looking for that big red candle to come in behind it to at least come back down to support. Because now we're overextended, RSI to the 70s here. Again, we may get one more little push here. I've got some more limit orders to add up higher if so. But I'm looking for this to come back down, kind of fill us, as it pushes back down to that 9 and 20 moving average. And maybe we get real lucky here and we get a real big crash back down, which wouldn't be unexpected after a big power move like that to the upside. But that was the right call right there. Like I said, we were going short here, but this is kind of looked like it kind of anticipating what it was going to do.
Order filled.
It was looking like it wanted to get that quick little run up in here. Like I said, we're getting these big upper shadows. Now we just need to see. We got 7 contracts here to the short side. Again, now we just need to see this come back down here. So surprised that this took off so high above the VWAP and the 200 moving average. Again, we'll be quick on the trigger. We'll see a big pullback coming here at some point. Again, RSI like 75 now, and then we'll just be quick to take profits as we get that crack. Market's not going to rally to the upside like this forever here. I really don't want to go heavier than 7 contracts here. Or 10 contracts, excuse me. Got 7 contracts in here now. Don't want to go bigger than 10. But we'll get the pullback here at some point. Currently down about 1,300 unrealized. Again, you'll see that big pullback come in here. Then that's where we'll look to take profits. RSI 75
Order
here.
filled.
I'm going to add there. All the way up to that 580.50 area.
Order filled.
We're going to get 9 contracts in here now. Now we're just waiting for the pullback here. RSI is not going to stay this high for that long. Again, we'll see this pullback here at some point. So down 2,100. Taking a little bit of risk here to build up these short
Order
positions.
filled.
But again, after a big move like that to the upside, again, we'll see it come right back down. Once we do get that pullback, we'll be sitting in a good spot as it comes back down to at least retest the 9 and 20. Because the farther this gets away from the 9 and 20 moving average, the bigger pullback this will have back down to reality. And so RSI here overextended, everything looking good for a pullback. The big question is once we do come down for this pullback toward that 9 moving average, like, are we going to get a bigger crack back down toward that volume weighted average prices, which is what we want to see, because that's where the profit's going to be made here on this trade. But again, we kind of identified this call out here. Again, that's why I took profit off this short. I kind of talked about, kind of before this move happened, that it looked like the market was going to get a strong run to the upside here. Now, I will say I did not expect it to be this strong. I figured we'd get 2 big green candles before the pullback, and we're kind of continuing here a little bit, but which is fine because the 9 and the 20 spread's getting large, and we'll, like I said, the market won't move forever to the upside. We'll see a pullback here. The big question is at this point is when that pullback comes, how aggressive will it be as far as how much profit will we be able to get off this? You know, if we come back down here at this kind of 200 moving average and that 9 moving average, if we hold it and kind of bounce, I want to see what it does. If it does come down, test and bounce, because that'll kind of put us break even here with this trade. I'd rather see this break below that 9 and 200 moving average, and then we start to come all the way down here toward that volume weighted average price. That's where we're going to start, you know, making the big bucks here. But got to take a little bit of risk to do that. Again, kind of identified that it looked like we were going to push, but I figured we'd push to the 200 moving average and the VWAP and the 200 moving average, which those were all the bulk of my limit orders there. Did not expect that to continue on up here. But again, we'll wait for this to come back down. Again, after a run like that, it'll come back down and settle a little bit. But nice to have a good sized little position built in here. Looking to make some good money here on the day. Congrats if you took that to the upside. I thought about it, just because I kind of called that trade out, that we were going to see that push. Again, when the RSIs are low like that, the better odds are we get the push back up, then this continues to fall. Even though the technical analysis down here told us to take the short, which we did, and we made a little bit of money off of, but kind of identified that this may take off and run a little bit. But definitely did not expect that big of a push here. So we're looking for the crack here. It'll kind of come back down and settle. Again, we'll have to look at the red here on the P&L for a while, but I've been in this game long enough to know this will come back down and settle here at some point. down about 1,000 here, looking for this pullback. Really looking for this to come down and retest this 20 moving average, because that gap between the 9 and the 20 is so large here. We're still overextended on 20 on, or 70 on the RSI. Again, we'll see this pullback here. I don't really want to have to add into this position. Like I said, I've got 10 contracts here. I'm able to add up to about 20 contracts with my position size, but not really looking to go that aggressive here. So again, waiting for the pullback here. I want to see the 9 moving average crack first, then we'll see it pull back to the 20. I'd really like to see it push down to that VWAP area. That's probably where I'd look to take some profits off the table. The market kind of being a little stubborn right now, kind of wanting to hold that upside. But we'll get the pullback here at some point. May start to crack here a little bit. We'll see. Like I said, the right trade idea. We kind of talked about why I took profits there on the short side, kind of identifying that this is going to have a pretty decent run to the upside. Problem is it ran a little bit higher than expected, so my cost average is a little bit lower than where I would want it to be, but the pullback will come in here. It's Newton's, is it the first law of gravity, or Newton's first law, what comes up must come down. Again, the market's super extended here after that big run up. Like I said, it'll come back down as some of these long buyers take their profits. The market doesn't like to stay so exaggerated to the upside, especially when there's no news out there for it to be. Now, if there was news out there, that'd be a different story. So I'm gonna be patient on this one. Again, if I have to add, and the only area I would be looking to add is if the RSI goes into the 80s and it gets so stupidly like overbought here, would be the only add point. I can add up to 10 more contracts. I particularly don't want to try to do that, really max the account like that. Except rather there's just come on down, have that pullback here. Like I said, it'll retest that 20 moving average at some point. And that'll be the big key test here. So we're still overextended, still too high. First keys here is going to be breaking this 9 moving average because as you can see, it's trying to continue to hold up off that 9. Again, we want to see the pullback below it. Then we'll get the first real retest. So now volume really slowing down here, kind of consolidating sideways off this 9 moving average. A little push here to the upside. RSI sitting around 70 again. If I see the RSI going to the 80s, I will add to this. Not when I don't really want to, but if it gets in the 80s, I'll have to bring that cost average up here, especially when it gets that oversold. We haven't really seen that weakness crack, but it'll come. We just got to be patient on it. Again, we kind of identified that this was going to try to push to the upside. I just not expect it to, one, have big as a push that is as it did, and then two, to continue with the aggressiveness as far as that upside move and the buyers hanging around so long. So we have stayed in an oversold position here for, I mean, how many candles is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 minutes here. We have stayed oversold. So the market particularly does not like to stay in that oversold position that long. Again, it'll come. The pullback will come. We just have to be patient. I know it's tough, especially for newer traders watching like the P&L be that negative when you talk about risk management, but I've been in the market so long. I know how the markets move, how they react. Like I said, I've been in positions like this before where I just have to wait for the weakness to come and then I can get out. Problem is, at this point now, when the weakness does come, I don't think it'll be a strong enough pullback to where I'll make a lot of profit. Or if I even do make profit, it may just be a smaller loss here at this point, just because of how aggressive this move to the upside has been. So what's our RSI 72 here? Again, add points is going to be if like we get a strong green candle here, and like it said, it shoots up into the 80s. I'll start scaling my way in on market orders to the short side. I said, I've got 10 contracts in here now. I've got about another 10 to play with. There's 78. This may have the strong push.
Order
I'm
filled.
going to add into here as it's pushing.
Order filled.
RSI's into the 82s, 83s. $81 now. There's that big upper shadow there off that push. Let's see that weakness come in here. RSI super high here, still in the 80s. So we added when the RSI was about 81, 82 here. Got about 14 contracts in here. We've got about 6 more to play with. In case this market wants to stay irrationally strong here. So market's still staying irrationally strong. This is crazy to see the market do this. I have not seen the market do this in a very long time. But it's all good. We've got to wait. Just market's going to make us be more patient here for that pullback comes in. Crazy how irrationally strong. Like the RSI is just hanging above 80 here. Which we kind of saw the inverse of this. Man, was that Monday? I don't think it, or was it yesterday? Might have been yesterday when the RSI was the exact opposite, where it was like in the 15s, like because it was selling off so aggressively. We saw it get very, very oversold for a very long period of time. Now we're kind of seeing the inverse of this, where this is staying irrationally strong here. But just like that day, the market then finally did recover. That's what we're going to have to wait for here. Is the market to kind of come back down to reality and get that pullback in here. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to take profit off this trade. This is just going to be, at this point, kind of minimizing the loss here. So when it does pull back, try to minimize the loss as much as possible. Unfortunately, this is just getting a little too irrational. The trade setup and the trade plan was there as far as what happened. Like, we did call figured that this was going to have like a big strong push kind of out of nowhere, and we kind of limited or ordered in. What I did not expect was this to have a continuation of that. Like, I figured we'd have the big push, we'd have that pullback. That's when we were going to look to exit. Did not expect this to continue here. Very kind of out of the ordinary for this market, especially on a day that we don't have news. Like, if we had news, that would be expected, and I would limit risk accordingly versus a day like this. But the market will always humble you like that. The market will do things that are, market can stay irrational longer than you can stay rational a lot of times. But again, I've been in this position many times. I've seen the market kind of do these type of swings. So I kind of know how to trade when a market does irrational moves like this. But congrats if you took the market to the long side here. That was the play. So 1031 here in the market. Again, 14 contracts to the short side. Down about 4,400 unrealized. Again, we're looking for this to, one, crack this 9 moving average. Then I want to see it start to crack the 20 moving average, and then we'll see how I play it from there. Whether, like, I don't think we'll take profit off this unless we see something crazy. As far as the big pullback come in, right now it's going to be kind of limiting the loss here on the day. The good news is that when we start to crack, we've got a big gap to fill toward the downside. You can see RSI still oversold here. Anybody take this trade to the long side? I'm just curious. So if you did, man, congrats on that. Again, that initial pop that we saw was to be expected. We called it out, and like I said, scaling our way up to that 200 moving average, because 9 times out of 10, we'll see that quick little move up to that 200 moving average. We can scale our way in, and then we'll see that immediate 1-minute pullback. And that's all I was looking for out of this trade, was that quick run up, get a decent amount of contracts in there, which I had about 6, and then see that quick 1-minute pullback, which we got the 1-minute pullback. It just wasn't as aggressive as I'd like to see it, where we could have took some quick profits off that. This thing just got the pop and then just stayed irrationally strong, and it's continuing to stay irrational. Again, RSI still in the 71, 72 area. Again, we just have to be patient, wait for the market to take a turn. Then we'll have to decide based upon the price action where we get out. Most likely it's going to be a loss. We just want to minimize this. Again, we don't want to have to take a $5,100 loss here, because that's going to knock out basically my weekly gains. Rather take a $2,000 to $1,000 loss, because that still puts us in a good position to finish out the week strong. So volume really slow here. We'll see if we get this crack, come back down. So here's a crack coming in. We'll see how aggressive this crack is. Like I said, I'm ready to close this position out. But this is what we've been looking for here to try to minimize this loss. Okay, now the market's starting to fail here. So this is what we want to see. Like I said, we just had to be patient for this. Again, the market's not going to stay irrational like it is forever. Problem is, where do we close this out? Again, I want to minimize loss here, minimize risk. Kind of have an idea of how I want this to play out. So we got a nice gap to fill down here. Now that the market's starting to turn around, and those pullbacks will be pretty massive here. So yeah, let's see. So we'll probably get a push back up here. So there's that push back up. I want to see it fell along the 20 and 9 moving average here. Even better if it continues to pull back down. We'll be ready to close this out. Again, right now it's, like I said, we're not looking to take profits here. We're looking to minimize this loss. Again, just for risk management for the rest of the week here. RSI right around the 50, so we still have room to fall. We also have room to climb back up, but again, after a big red candle like that, I expect like a 1 minute push back up and then this to continue on down. We've got the gap to fill toward that 200 moving average. So again, we're looking to minimize loss here. If I can get this below 1,000, may look to close this out. Oh wow, let's go.
Order filled.
I'm going to close that out here. Oh man. I'm just doing that to minimize loss here. Actually, now, wow, we would have been in profit here if I would have held. Wow, how crazy is that? Market bananas here. I'm good with that. I am good minimizing this loss. Oh, that's painful to watch. Oh, it's so painful. Actually, it would have been a nice little profit here, but I have got to minimize the risk on that. Again, I knew that was coming at some point. We just had to be patient on that. Even though that's an ugly trade. Like, such an ugly trade. So we are down after commissions here, 863, but I had got to close it out even though we'd actually be a profit there if I would have held just a little bit longer. Oh man, look at it come down. Oof. Oof. Again, I didn't expect that to fall as hard as it did either. Again, I expected the fall to come in, but not that aggressive. Man, the market is all over the place here today. Ugly trade. We'll kind of recap it, but there's some trading opportunities back in the market now after this big drop. Oh my God. Look at the market fall. Wow, all the way back down to the VWAP. Wow. Oh, wow. Continuing on here. Oh, that's painful. Oh, that could have been a $4,000 winner now. Still going down here. Did it come down lower to our original entry? Oh, close. Almost there to the original entry. Now there's trading opportunities here. We'll look to short actually. Like I said, if we get that little pop back up here. Now RSI's a little oversold now. RSI's in the 30s, but I get that little 1 minute pop, a little bit of upper shadow off that 20. I'll look to short here, kind of scale my way in. Got some volatility here. Short. Oh my god. Chat, you're supposed to tell me to hold. God. This would have hit every profit target that I had down there. We just cracked the open on the day too as well. My goodness. RSI 25 now, 24. Extremely oversold here. So market coming back up again. We got some opportunities here because we got some volatility in the markets. Again, I'd like to see this like retest up to that 20 moving average potentially, and then crack off the 20, and then look to short here. My God, dude, look at that pullback. We'll kind of recap that again. That is a crazy, and I don't see that. Like that's almost like newsworthy. Like something had to come out for that to crack that much. But I mean, my scanners aren't not pulling up anything here. We may have some trade opportunities here. We're going to sit back. My God, we could have had. It's like rough to see. God, especially like down here off that VWAP area. If we're still holding 14 contracts on the short side, literally we would have flipped our position from being down 5,000 to up over 5,000 here. I just couldn't take the risk. Again, I want to minimize loss as much as we could. Just did not expect this to do what it just did here. Again, the day's not over here. We do have some action now, so again, I'll be looking for trades. It's 10:47 here in the market. again, we got an opportunity here. Be looking for this. Such a wild day here in the market. This is one I'm going to go back and study, these type of moves here. So looking here, I want to see this come up to that 200 moving average.
Order filled.
I'm going to add into this here.
Order filled.
I'm going to add here.
Order filled.
I'll add one more as well. Wow, this isn't going to rally all the way to the upside here, is it? Typically what we see is we'll see this break of that 20 and get that like a little move above it, then we'll see it pull back down here. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Oh, wow. So looking for this pullback to come in. So we'll be looking for this pullback back down toward the VWAP area. Said right now we're still on the bearish side. Not still below the 20 here. Looking for the pullback. RSI is right where I like it in the 50s. what a wild day here in the markets. So you're looking for that bigger pullback underneath that 200 moving average. I want to start taking profit down here. We're almost there.
Order filled.
We get filled there with one, or take some profit off the table here. Looking for the bigger move on down. A big lower shadow there. Don't like that. I'm going to close
Order
that out.
filled.
Don't like that lower shadow there. Showing a lot of strength down here. I'll take that. Again, we're climbing back out of some losses here. Man, 1058. That's going to be it for me. We're actually going to walk away on the day down $878. Could have been a lot worse. Actually, could be a lot better. But we got to go back to how some of this trades played out. Just this market coming out of nowhere today. But again, we were short here. We took some quick little profits off this short just because I talked about, I mean, almost 4 minutes before it happened, I talked about, hey, this has a good chance of like getting a really strong rally into it, kind of out of nowhere. And I was still looking more on the short side for that short-term rally, which we got it. So I started to scale in 2 contracts there, right there around the VWAP, right above the VWAP, 2 more contracts, and right around that 200 moving average. This is where I thought the rally was going to end, right? We're going to get that quick push, kind of scale into the short side here, and then get stalled out by that 200 moving average because how aggressively those moves are. Typically, we get a really strong 1-minute pullback, into that, because long buyers are going to take their profits real quick. Shorters like me are going to look at that area, and we'll get a quick move. Long buyers take their profits, short sellers get involved, and we see that 1-minute pullback, and that's all I wanted to see. 1-minute pullback, have 6 contracts in here, decent position on that 1-minute pullback, come out with some nice little profit and be done with the trade. But as we know, that is not what happened. This had the 1-minute pullback, then retested the 200 moving average, which is fine, then busted above it, then got a really next rally where I added 9-10 contracts into it, then started to cool off here, and then just continued to follow that non-moving average all the way up, where I added a couple more contracts in here, 6 more contracts to be exact. No, 2 more contracts. I had 14 contracts total to the short side. And as it was staying overextended kind of during this period, we're looking at a P&L unrealized of down over $5,000, right? Very, very ugly. But as I talked about, the market will not stay, like the market will stay irrational, but it won't stay irrational forever. At some point, the market will have a crack. We'll be able to come down. And all I was looking to do was minimize my risk. I understood the position that I put myself in. Again, ugly trade, not where you want to be as a trader. I understand the position that I'm in. And I'm not looking to try to hold this thing and try to make some profit, because at the same time, you may get that crack and then you'll get that bounce and then you're right back to square one. But then the market is kind of cooled off and then you can put yourself in a really bad spot. So I kind of knew where we were at, wasn't looking to make profit. All I wanted to do was minimize that risk, because I can take a $5,000 loss. The problem with that is you don't want to take a loss like that. That's basically, it's going to take me, 5 to 6 good solid trading days to make a $5,000 loss back. And I always preach, you never want to take a loss that's bigger than what it would take you 2 to 3 normal trading days to make back, right? That's kind of where you want to be. Losses are going to come. You're going to take them in the market. Nobody's 100%, and if they try to say they're 100%, they're absolutely lying to you. Losses are going to happen. It's how you deal with those losses that is going to determine whether you're a profitable trader or not. And again, one of the best trading books I recommend is The Best Loser Wins. Really well written, and that's exactly how the market is. The person that minimize losses and kind of maximizes their gains. It's the name of the game here. Anyway, so kind of understand what I knew. I knew that crack was going to come, right? So as the crack kind of came, and kind of what I was telling myself, if I can minimize this loss under $1,000, I'm going to call that a W, right? Under 1,000, 100% okay with. I can literally make that back tomorrow, and get us back on track. But big pullback there, and kind of as I saw that, it's kind of like, oh man, do I hold this? Do I, what do I do here? I was like, no, I can't take that risk. Because hindsight, always 2020. Yeah, if I would have held it, we would have been, just that's very unexpected. But as this did have a pretty aggressive pullback there, at the same time, this could, the 9 was still above the 20. That could have had a pretty big drop and then a big rip back up. And again, I didn't want to be in the same spot that I was just fighting for so long to get out of. So for me, saw it under 1,000, closed it out. I took my $825 loss there. Lived to fight another day. But again, hindsight 2020, what a crazy move in the market from being so overextended in the 75, 80 RSI range to then coming all the way down here and busting below 30 in like the 26, 27 RSI range to very oversold. Very, very wild move here in the market. Congrats if, one, you went long here, you would have made a lot of money, and two, if you were in the same position I was and you held a little bit longer to the downside, you would have came out smelling like roses, even though, again, very ugly trade, not where you want to be as a trader. It will happen depending on what your strategy is. If you're just a scalper, which, if you're doing the prop firm accounts and things like that, you don't have the luxury to take trades like that, kind of like I do, where I trade my own cash account. I don't have any rules on me. I've got a bigger account where I can really scale into things and kind of scale out and kind of play the volatility of the market. Prop firms don't allow you to do that. So, if you're more looking at scalping like quick moves, quick breaks and quick drops and things like that. But, very honestly, at the end of the day, very, very ugly trade. You never want to be down that bad because you're still taking a risk. Even though I've been around the markets for a long time, I've seen markets do irrational things. I'm very in tune with how the market moves and kind of what it does on a day-to-day basis. And I knew at some point this was going to have the drop. It's not going to stay into that 75, 80 RSI range all day to get, all day. It doesn't have room to go. But then on the flip side, I did not expect it to have that big of a reversal drop. I knew a reversal was coming. Again, I was just looking to minimize the loss there, lick the wounds, and live to fight another day. So I just stick to that trading plan. But again, it's always hindsight 2020 in the market where it's like, oh man, if you would have held on to this, instead of being down here on the day, you'd have been looking at one of the bigger green days that you would have had in the last 2 to 3 weeks here. But then again, big drop, and then took a quick little short here for some nice little profits. Again, we see this happen all the time, like off a big overextended move. We'll see it kind of break that 20 moving average, get a run up there, and then kind of crack underneath it. And right now, it's just kind of consolidating. So one of those trading days, man, very, very wild. Hopefully you guys traded the markets better than I did. Definitely left some money on the table there. Kind of knowing we would see that spike. Here I thought the short play was going to be the better option for us as far as, being able, and I love this kind of trade setup where you have those like quick up, those quick moves to the upside right into resistance. All you do is you put your limit orders right into that resistance, right as you have the quick explosion. You get that RSI moving pretty high. Then you have the 1 minute pullback, and then you just get out of it, right? A quick little 2 to 3 minute trade where you can make $400, $500, $600. I love trades like that, but again, that's not what happened. We had the 1 minute pullback, a retest of the 200 moving average here, a break of the 200, and then man, it's like the Kentucky Derby. They opened up the gates, man, and the buyers just wherever they came from, they held this 20 moving average and really put me in a predicament where I had to hold this thing way longer than I wanted to hold. 14 contracts to the short side being down, at one point unrealized $5,000, waiting, being patient just to try to get out of this and minimize the loss. That's all I'm thinking about, as this market is moving higher, is really just like, let's minimize the loss as much as possible here. The last thing I'm thinking about is actually turning a profit on a trade like that, but it came in. It's just, man, one of those days in the market, especially on a day where, you look at the economic calendar and the news that's coming out. I mean, I know we're kind of coming into a little bit of earnings seasons, but I mean, we don't really have any news to be kind of pushing the market like that. It's just, one of those days. But again, hey, we're going to take the loss on the day. We're going to learn from it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to study the charts. Just kind of look at where I could have done better on a day of crazy volatility that's kind of unexpected, and maybe how I want to move forward, maybe change some of the, if we're going to see market conditions like that, how do we trade market conditions like that and put ourselves in a better spot? So, this is definitely one where I'm going to go back and kind of do a replay of myself and, what my thought process was and, how we ended up where we ended up as far as being 14 contracts to the short side with a P&L that was $5,000, spit in our face. Seeing how we prevent that in the future as well and trade this better and actually walk away profitable on a day where, if you look at it, the moves are there. We're just on the wrong side of both moves. But hey, it is what it is. 878 is going to be the loss here after commissions. So congrats if you traded a little bit differently today. Again, there was some good opportunities in the market, to make that money. But yeah, congrats if you made money. If not, like I said, we'll look to trade better coming up here to close out the week here Thursday and Friday. But that is it for me. You guys have a good one. I'll see you back tomorrow morning. Peace.